Welcome to Ask A Butch. I'm Sheena and I'm joined today by Lise and Amy, both women who identify as butch. Our goal in this podcast is to break down the myths and stereotypes around butch women. Butch women who are very often the brunt of anger, misconception, and other nasty things, even in the lesbian community. So, what we're doing with this podcast is our two butch representatives, Lise and Amy, are answering listener questions. Today's listener question is great fun. It is, do butch women have some kind of power tool magic? Okay, what do you guys think?
That would be awesome!
Of course we do.
All right. That was a quick one.
Yes. Bye!
Excellent. Well, Lise, you make all sorts of fancy things with tools. Amy, didn't you just install a floor or something?
Well, yeah, I installed a floor recently, but I also was a carpenter, so...
Okay, well, there we go.
Yeah, union carpenter, so I had power tool experience.
Power tools are great. Though, I mean, once again, sadly, I can't say that only lesbians build stuff. Because in the cosplay community, there are plenty of high-femme women who are building some pretty amazing stuff, and they're using power tools as much, if not more, than I am. So, I wish, though, that, being a lesbian would get us a discount on power tools. That would be awesome.
That would be awesome. That would be totally awesome.
You look pretty butch. 25% off the top for all of you. And then there could be a butch shopping day where we all go out and buy power tools and we get even more off.
I would love that. Yes.
Even if I didn't love power tools, which I actually do, I would go to that butch shopping day. Meet all the butchers.
Though, I do have to say, of course, so my ex considered herself more butch than me, which was a source of disagreement throughout our relationship. And she could not build a damn thing. I once asked her, because, she grew up on a farm. I'm like, for a farm kid, why can't you make anything? And she said, give me some posts and a bale of wire, and I will build you a fence. But anything else than that, you're going to have to do it. I'm like, that's fine. And I think, for us, it boiled down to interest. I like making things. I like building things. That's one of the things that makes me really happy in this life. And my definition of making is very broad, but some of it includes power tools, and that just helps you make stuff.
I kind of went through a more, I guess, traditional approach to power tools, which is that because I was interested in carpentry. I was interested in doing handiwork, and I'd done a little bit. Growing up, my dad had a table saw, and so I never used it. He never built stuff with me. He never brought me into his workshop and had me help him. I never did anything like that. And then when I was, I'd say probably in my 30s, right around 30 is when I started getting interested in being able to do stuff around the house, fix stuff myself so I didn't have to spend the money. And I got paid to do it for somebody else. And so I started thinking, hey, this is kind of cool. This is kind of neat. And then I found out about a program in the area that I was working in that wanted to get more women into the trades, the building trades. So it was a class, and you went there and you learned how to do some of this stuff, very basic. And then afterwards, you could apply for one of the trades unions around the city. And so I went through that class and loved it. I loved the class. I loved working with my hands. I loved being able to build something and do something and then see what I did. And I was one of the two most competent people at the end of the class, and a carpentry company was looking for more women to join their company, and so they asked the people who put the class on for recommendations, and me and the other person were invited to be hired, and I said, heck yeah. So that's how I got into the trades, and how I basically learned to use more of the power tools.
Yeah, see, my dad, growing up, had all four of us help him in his workshop. but my dad did not like power tools. He was very much like a purist, kind of traditionalist. And I mean, he did a lot of, not much woodworking, but we did a lot of refinishing and a lot of stuff around the house. And we had to help him. But the only power tool he had was this super old drill. And that was the only thing we had that we used power. So, there you are as a 6-year-old with this like piece of wood that you're trying to cut down. And it's oak, probably, knowing my dad. And all you have is a handsaw. And you're not allowed to use the power drill. You have this like drill with a little crank on the side. And it takes you 15 minutes to drill through that chunk of oak and half an hour to saw through it with your little 5-year-old noodle arms. But he did want us to know tools. And he did want us to have, the ability to at least do stuff. And when I was introduced to power tools, it was like, okay, hold me back, because now I can do all the stuff and it's going to take me 1/10 of the time.
Okay, so do you think that butch women are naturally more drawn to power tools, or do you just think that power tools are awesome and everyone should get to know them?
I think it's more the latter than the former. I think there are a lot of butch women who do that stuff because they like to do that stuff. I think there are a lot of more femme people who do that stuff. I think there are women who would probably like to do it, but have been discouraged because they feel like if they do it, that people will think they are butch, or if they're straight, that people will think that they're queer, which is unfortunate. So I think a lot more women would probably do that stuff if someone took the time to show them so that they could discover sort of that love of making and doing and being self-sufficient. Yeah.
I don't think that it's necessarily a butch thing. I think that it's easier for butches to do things that are considered traditionally masculine.
Right.
I'm going to say that the second person in my class that was hired by this company on recommendation was also a lesbian, totally femme. And the whole time that I knew her, that we worked, in the same company, at the same job, or when we, be put on different jobs and then months later be on the same job again, the whole time that I saw her, she'd be at work with makeup and, nice hair. And there's me with, the hat on, so I didn't have to do my hair that early in the morning. And so, yeah, I think it's definitely more a matter of access and allowing more people, not even just women, but more people to discover that what they might like to do. And because power tools intimidate a lot of people. And you have to, it's hard to learn on your own what's safe, what's easy.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are scared that they're going to do it wrong and end up cutting off their hand. It's something where if you had more access and more people who were, letting you do stuff, then it may be that you would have more femmes or more women interested in it.
That's an interesting point, actually. I think in some regards like this, lesbians are actually luckier than heterosexual women in that they don't have partners that will feel emasculated if they learn to use power tools. And unfortunately, in the heterosexual world, women tend to stay away from anything that's likely to emasculate her partner.
I would say yes, but I'd also caution you that I think that could happen in a butch-femme dynamic as well. So...
Really?
Well, I'm not saying that I would feel emasculated if my femme wife decided to go out and learn how to build cabinets. But I think that there are some butches who feel that there are certain roles that are theirs, and that that's their territory. And if a feminine woman did that yes, they would feel like they were being emasculated, or I don't even know what you would say for a butch woman. It's not something that I personally have a problem with. Unless my wife tried to put me in a dress, that would probably make me feel emasculated. But, as far as power tools, that's not something that I really have a problem with. I think any woman should be able to take care of herself in however she wants to. And if that means that she wants to learn how to fix her house up, more power to her.
So I have two stepkids, a boy and a girl, and they're both, I'd say, teenagers. And the boy has helped me out working on some stuff that he wanted to do in the garage, so he's gotten to know power tools. The girl has not shown too much interest, but the other day her bed broke and we had to fix it. So I had her, I walked her through it. She did the work. It's just basically like, yeah, drill here, screw that, do this. And she loved it. And she told me that she felt great and she was going to go out into the woods behind our house and break sticks over her knee because she was feeling super masculine. Which I thought was both hilarious and kind of like a little cringy too at the same time.
I think that's pretty much a good description of teenagers in general, though.
Yes.
I think that you make a good point. I think that when feminine women or when women who don't know how to use power tools, when they do something and realize that it's not as hard as they built it up in their mind, they feel empowered. And I think that's a great feeling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I'm definitely going to be dragging her out to the workshop with me a little more, I think.
I made both of my children know, I taught them how to change a flat tire, because if they were going to drive, they had to know how to do it themselves. So, I mean, and I know for certain that my youngest one was, somebody expressed surprise when she knew how to do it. And she's just like, no, my mom taught me how.
More power to you, Amy. I think that's fantastic and exactly as it should be. Thank you for the epic discussion on power tools. It's made me want to go out and drill something.
Hello.
Tamara!
More power to you, Sheena. See what I did there?
I can't even, Lise. You are hilarious. I'm Sheena, and this has been Ask A Butch with Lise and Amy. You can find contact details as well as a link to our Patreon account in the show notes. If you enjoy the show, consider becoming a patron. You get exclusive content. That's all for this week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.